Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Derulo. I love that music connects to people all over the country. But unfortunately, so does something else. Childhood hunger. 15 million kids struggle with hunger right here in America. And yet, every year, billions of pounds of surplus food in the U.S. go to waste instead of going to the children in need. Feeding America is working to change this. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks rescues this surplus of food to help provide meals to families in virtually every community in the United States, including yours. But they just can't do this alone. Join me in the fight against hunger in America. For more information on what you can do to get involved, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey everyone. Let's all stop what we're doing right now and take a moment. That felt good, huh? Just like that, we had a nice special sort of moment together. Of course, they don't all need to be quiet moments to be special. They could be loud moments, goofy moments, sporty moments, dorky moments. Moments where we talk or walk or just hang out. It doesn't really matter. They all count. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. Sounds like somebody agrees. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Today, call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
It's Meals on Wheels. 1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Down to the Wire. Remember, you can call us at 631-965-4990. I almost forgot my own number.
Yeah.
And remember, you can follow us by going to our website at worldwidesportsradio.com. And you can search us on every single platform, on every single, I guess, digital platform. You can follow us on radio.com, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitter. We're on we're on every single avenue when it comes to social media, as far as I'm concerned. But interesting things happened this weekend, Speedy, and I'll tell you this. I was very surprised the Brooklyn Nets fired their coach.
Yeah.
Nobody would have thought that the Brooklyn Nets were going to fire Kenny Atkins. Nobody. And the story came out that Sean Marks had Atkins come in and speak to the high-ups, the organization owners and the people that have money invested into the organization, and they wanted to know his thoughts on where this team is heading. And after the meeting, Kenny Atkins was no longer the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets. Now, Kevin Durant came out over the weekend and said that this team is, what he thought this team was on its way of being is completely fallen off. That this team does not know where it's going. When you fire a head coach in the middle of the season when you're a playoff team and expect these players like Kyrie Irving and guys like Kevin Durant to expect that this team absolutely knows where they're heading as a team, as an organization, when they were expected to be a championship competitive team next year, especially the way LeVert is playing.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because I think this kind of thing, if it happened, would have happened in the offseason if it was going to happen, because the Nets, even though they've been a little down from where they were last year, they've still been a playoff competitive team. They're still, I think, at 500 right now or slightly below, but they were right around where they were last year. And again, a lot of times when you see coaches fired in the NBA now, it's because of the superstar players. It's a player-run league now. If you don't get along with this superstar player, you're not going to keep your job very much longer. So that kind of thing could have happened with Kyrie Irving, with Kevin Durant if it happened. But because of them not playing for pretty much all year and him still having the team young, I'm surprised they would have committed to getting rid of him that quickly. So it seemed kind of bizarre in that case. And I think Kenny Atkinson will get a job very quickly once the offseason begins, because he has been a good coach for a while, and he's good with young players and good with a lot of unknown players too.
Well, think about it this way. There is a team across the river that's going to be looking for a head coach at the end of the season's end. And we were talking about Thibodeau and Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson, and now you have another New York representative that is now available who worked as an assistant coach with the New York Knicks organization for many, many years in Kenny Atkinson. Now, Kenny Atkinson is a very high-profile coach now. And there are not just the New York Knicks are going to be looking at him. There are plenty of teams that'll be looking at Kenny Atkins that are going to be looking for a coach in the offseason. And right now, the Nets are 29-34.
Oh, wow, they're actually worse than I thought. Okay.
They're right now the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference.
Which doesn't say much.
And they don't have Kyrie Irving practically for the rest of the season, and they're not going to see Kevin Durant until next year. Now, you would think after this offseason bringing in Kevin Durant and Jordan that they would give Atkinson a little bit more time with Kevin Durant and with Jordan to see what team they have enforced. But obviously, everybody that thought Sean Marks knew what he was doing, unless he has something planned that he's going to bring Greg Popovich, and that's what we're going to get into right now. Mm-hmm. If he actually thinks that Greg Popovich is going to flee the San Antonio Spurs to come and work for him, then I understand why they got rid of Kenny Atkinson. But even bringing in Greg Popovich is on the end of his career.
The contract wouldn't be very long.
This guy is in his 70s now. How many years does this guy have left? 2, 3 years?
Yeah.
You saw what he did with this team, the Spurs team. The Spurs team is not even a playoff team. And I told you guys this over and over again. The coach is as good as the players he's coaching. Tim Duncan retires. This team has not been the same team since he's retired. I don't care what anybody says.
They had a star player that decided to sit out the whole year.
Even with Kawhi Leonard, they weren't winning anything. No. Even with Kawhi, they weren't winning anything.
No, but they were
still
a top 5 seed.
It shows you how important Tim Duncan was to that organization and Greg Popovich's career. Now, I'm not saying Greg Popovich and Pop, or whatever you want to call him, Pop is not a good coach. But he has not won without his star player. And that's saying a lot. If you're going to say you're a great coach, Pat Riley was a great coach. Because Pat Riley took over the Miami Heat when he needed to, when Shaq came to the team, to help them win a championship. He made sure that he was going to help them win a championship, even if he wasn't the GM and he had to take over the coaching job. And he did. And they won. And you can say what you want about Phil Jackson. Everywhere Phil Jackson went, no matter who he was coaching, he won. Everywhere he went. Yes, he was coaching Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman, and then went to Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant and all the other muskrats that they had on that team. You could say whatever you want. Greg Popovich has not won since Tim Duncan retired. Now you're bringing in a 70-year-old coach, if he's available, if he becomes available. And by the way, you're going to have to trade for him. So you're going to have to give up probably a Karis LeVert and possibly a draft pick in return for Greg Popovich. Because they're not just going to give him away. And he's still under contract. And that's a lot to give up for a 70-year-old coach that hasn't won in a very long time.
Well, he hasn't won also because
Don't make an excuse, because there is no excuse. He has not won in about 5 years now.
Okay, but it's also the league has changed a lot since when he started coaching.
And everybody thinks he's still the best coach in the NBA. Well, if you're the best coach in the NBA, it doesn't matter who you're coaching, you win.
Right, but the coaching element of the NBA has only been limited to certain teams, though, too, where because it's a player-driven league, all superstar tandems will take over.
So you're willing to give up Karis LeVert and a first-round draft pick for Greg Popovich. Is that what you're saying? You're willing to give up a guy that can probably score you in the future. This kid's only 22, 23 years old. He's not even in the prime of his career. He's playing great basketball right now. He's been the best player. In this past week, he's been the best player in the league. And you're willing to give up Karis LeVert, who you drafted at number 19, number 20. He was a gem. He's probably one of the best players in that year's draft. You're willing to give him up and a first-round draft pick for Greg Popovich.
Okay, here's the reason why, yeah. One of which is Karis LeVert has been injury-prone throughout his career.
So what? That's not an excuse.
Okay.
You're giving up a player of that magnitude for a guy that hasn't won.
Okay. For a guy that hasn't won, but he's still been very good with less talent after Duncan retired. They still were playoff teams every year. Playing against... Okay.
It's about winning championships.
Right.
And Greg Popovich will be the first person to tell you that.
Right, but again... The teams were never the best teams once he retired. They were a top 5 seed with Kawhi Leonard sitting out the whole year and not playing at all. Who was the best player? LaMarcus Aldridge, who you say is overrated all the time. So
he is overrated.
So exactly. So not many coaches would get them to a top 5 seed amidst all that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: when you think of the particular argument of Greg Popovich going to the Brooklyn Nets. My question isn't that Greg Popovich isn't a good coach. My question is, what is one guy who's sitting on the bench going to make this team better? Now, Kevin Durant's coming to the team, so that already makes the team better. If you had Kenny Atkinson there, what's the difference? Now, Popovich has a winning stability background, but he also had one of the best GMs running the organization. And he also had arguably Tim Duncan, the greatest power forward in NBA history. Since then, he hasn't won anything. He hasn't gone anywhere. And I don't care what Jeff's going to say, well, he's in the Western Conference and that's why he's nowhere. My argument here is you're not going to give away possibly a star player and a first-round draft pick for Greg Popovich, a washed-up Greg Popovich, who, yes, is a great coach, was a great coach, no longer a great coach. Go ahead, put him through, Speedy. What's up, Jeff? How are you, Jeff? How are you, Jeff? How are you?
I'm good, Errol. How are you?
I'm good.
Listen, man, if I'm the Nets, I make that trade all day long.
And of course,
I agree.
And of course, you would say something like that. And why would you make that trade every single day?
Here's why I would make that trade. The Nets draft pick isn't. You can always find outliers in the draft that have been drafted where the Nets are going to be drafting, which is like 10 or below, that become superstars. You're always going to be able to find those outliers. However, not most of the time, many of those guys don't pan out. So I don't think that the draft pick is a big deal. I would let Karis LeVert go because you still have Spencer Dinwiddie, getting Kevin Durant back. But I think most importantly for the Nets is you need a coach that can manage personalities that can't just be run out of town like the guy they just ran out, or they're talking about Tyronn Lue or something like that. You can't have a coach that's just going to be pushed around by the players. You can't have it.
And I agree with you. But again, Greg Popovich is not the same Greg Popovich from 5 years ago. This is an older, brittle guy that you could see him on the bench. He's not the same charismatic coach we've seen over the years with the San Antonio Spurs. Now, you can say what you want, and I believe Tim Duncan will be the next head coach of the Spurs. If Popovich leaves, I believe Tim Duncan will be the next head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. But that's not even my argument here. My argument is that you're going to give up on a player that could become a star and a first-round draft pick that could still be close to a lottery pick. They might not make the playoffs. They might fall out of the playoffs right now, losing Kenny Atkinson. They could be the 14th or 13th pick and maybe move up because of the way the draft and the lottery is now. So you're willing to give that up for Greg Popovich, who has not won. He hasn't
won in a Western Conference that's filled with other team.
That is not an excuse, Speedy. When everybody says you're the best coach in the NBA and you're not winning, your fingers are going to point at him if he's not winning.
Okay,
I don't want to hear it.
How many of the guys that you consider the best coach in the NBA are on teams that have these superstars?
Again, that's not an argument, and that's not I'm not going to accept that answer.
That's not even the question for me, though. The question for me is, name a coach that they can get, or that's available, or whoever. Who's the next coach of the Nets that can manage personalities, especially one that has a terrible attitude like Kyrie Irving, who, by the way, may be a franchise killer?
Well, again, if you're going to bring Greg Popovich in, how are you going to tell everybody that you're going to still be able to control Kyrie Irving? Greg Popovich, over the years, and he's had problems with Kawhi Leonard. There's nothing hidden behind that. There are facts to that story. And you think of Greg Popovich right now, going into this season, everybody expected the Spurs to be somewhat of a playoff team. They're not even going to make the playoffs. Right now, they're under 500 by what, 5 games? And you're hearing stories that the Spurs might be willing to trade Greg Popovich, but they're going to ask for a king's ransom. They might ask for another first-round draft pick.
But if there's a team that survived all these, it's the Nets.
So you think adding Greg Popovich
has a record? At least Popovich has a record of dealing with personalities, Tony Parker and Tim Duncan and star guys. He has a record of dealing with star players. You still haven't answered. If Pop isn't the guy for the Nets, who's going to be the guy that the Nets can bring in?
Again,
that they can't just run out of town.
Again, maybe even if it's not Greg Popovich, there are not, and even if it is Greg Popovich, who's to say that Greg Popovich is going to be able to control Kyrie Irving? Because he's a long-time respected NBA coach. He couldn't control Kawhi Leonard.
But also remember, Kyrie Irving, when he initially got traded to Boston, had the Spurs as one of the teams he wanted to go to, too, because of Greg Popovich.
He's had problems with LaMarcus Aldridge for how many years? I don't want to hear it, Speedy. He's had problems with these two players, and both of them, they were going to try to trade LaMarcus Aldridge last year. They couldn't trade him. And then they decided to move on from Kawhi Leonard because he didn't want to be there anymore. And that had a lot to do with Greg Popovich.
Okay, you don't like Greg Popovich.
I'm not saying I don't like him. I'm not giving Jeff Van Gundy. Jeff Van Gundy. Van Gundy probably is going to be the Knicks coach, right? Isn't that what everyone's saying? No, I don't think Jeff Van Gundy's going to take that job. I don't. I think he'll be interviewed. I think the guys that you're going to be looking at, and I've been saying this over and over again, I think it's Mark Jackson or Tom Thibodeau. I think it's one or the other. And now that Kenny Atkinson is available and he's a New York native, he will be a guy that the Knicks will absolutely interview for the position. Now, does it mean he's going to get the job? Probably not, because I believe Rose has his thoughts on who he wants to take over. And again, I'm going to say this, and I've said this over and over again. I think it's Tom Thibodeau. I think he fits what the Knicks need. They need a defensive-minded guy that is not going to – he's going to demand defense. That's something the Knicks haven't had for years.
Great graphic, by the way. I do love that graphic. It's beautiful.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. But I will tell you this, Jeff. You're right. If you were the Nets right now, and if you were a Net fan right now, would you take Greg Popovich for Karis LeVert in a first-round draft pick? Most Net fans will say yes. But what Greg Popovich are you going to get? Are you going to get the Greg Popovich of the late 90s, early 2000 San Antonio Spurs? Or are you going to get an old Greg Popovich that's going to sit on the bench and demand things from players that still won't listen to him? Because there are players right now. DeRozan, I've been hearing stories from San Antonio that DeRozan and Greg Popovich have had problems too. And that's why he wants out of San Antonio as well. That's not a good sign.
I would want Greg Popovich for one reason only, truthfully, is because, let's be honest here. Kyrie Irving now has the rap that he's a franchise killer, that he's the cancer in the locker room and can't get along with anyone. And if he can't straighten up for Pop, then he's not going to straighten up for anybody. Like, it would be a make or break moment for Kyrie's reputation.
But how are you going to get rid of that contract? You have him for the next 4 years. You gave him a long-term deal. And you're not going to be able to move on from him. You're going to have to move on from Greg Popovich, a.k.a. Kenny Atkinson, who everybody loved last year. Oh, he's the greatest. Oh, look what he did with the Nets. And then this year, in the second half of the season, they get rid of him. I mean, that's saying a lot.
A lot of people believe that's Kyrie's doing, though.
It could be Kyrie Irving's doing, or it could be something else with the organization. They just didn't want him there anymore. Maybe Marks decided, you know what? He speaks too much. I don't want him to speak anymore. I don't want him to speak to the press the way he's been speaking to the press, giving them information about the organization. Because if you watch the Nets press conferences, Kenny Atkinson is very open with the press. He's telling you what's going on in the locker room. He's telling you what's going on with the team and why the team isn't playing well. And there are a lot of coaches, a.k.a. David Fizdale, who still, even when he got fired, didn't speak up on what was going on in the locker room. And hence the reason why this guy Miller, who nobody's even heard of, has been better as a head coach than David Fizdale, the Knicks' #1 pick. So, again, I don't know. I really don't know where the Nets are going with this, and maybe they do get Greg Popovich. I don't know if this is going to make them a championship competitive team. It will give them something to talk. It will give the league something to talk about in the offseason. Oh, the Nets got Greg Popovich, and Kevin Durant's coming back, and Kyrie Irving's going to be healthy. Blah 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 blah. That's not going to make them a championship competitive team.
Doesn't guarantee it, but it boosts their chances in an already weak Eastern Conference.
How? You're giving away your third best player, by far. Your third best player. Okay. And you're giving up a first-round draft pick and possibly another first-round, because I know the Spurs are going to ask for a king's ransom for Greg Popovich. If you want Greg Popovich, you're going to have to open your pockets.
Their third best player?
I'm sorry?
Is Karis LeVert their third
I think
best
so,
player?
and it's not.
I think talent-wise he is, but again, he's always injury-prone too. So I
like Spencer Dinwiddie.
And they're talking about trading him next year. They're talking about trading him already because Kyrie Irving and him have not gotten along in the locker room. I don't know about you, Jeff. I know you live in Tampa, but over here in New York, everything that I've heard is Kyrie Irving and Spencer Dinwiddie are not getting along in the locker room. And they've been trying to move him. They were trying to move him at the trade deadline. So,
I mean, but again, look at what's happening right now in Brooklyn, okay? And I don't want to rehash old things, but there was a major revolt in Boston last year. Al Horford had to go to Philadelphia because he didn't want to be around Kyrie Irving. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum both hated Kyrie Irving. Without him, they've flourished. Who's the common denominator here? Is Jaylen Brown playing in Brooklyn? Is Jason Tatum playing in Brooklyn? Who's the guy that's upset at the apple cart? It's Kyrie Irving. You need to find a dude that's going to be able to manage those personalities. And I don't think a guy that's been run out of Cleveland and run out of the Lakers organization and all these other things, and Tyronn Lue or some of these other guys, can do it. Mm-hmm. I think your best bet is to get a Greg Popovich. And listen, maybe your alternative in Jeff Van Gundy is another good one. Maybe Jeff Van Gundy's like,
I think he's perfect.
I don't give a shit if I get fired or not or whatever. He's going to do the right thing. But someone has to try to rein in Kyrie Irving.
I agree. Jeff, thank you for calling. We have our special guest. We're going to actually put him through when we come back from break. Jeff, thank you for calling, my friend.
See you, man.
Jeff from Tampa, ladies and gentlemen. Always a good call. When we come back, we're going to have a special guest. If you guys don't know him, Rick Curdy, the founder and CEO of the Charlotte Bats. And let's bring MLB to the Charlotte organization. When we come back, we will have Rick Curdy on the phone. Here, the Worldwide
Sports Radio Network.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Seituha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next-door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing bottom line. Treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird, too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Six 965-4990. You know what it is? We keep changing our number, and it really throws me off. But as you guys know, you can call us at 631-965-4990 and follow us on all our social medias. How do you do that? All you have to do is go to worldwidesportsradio.com. You can follow us on all our platforms. As you guys know, Speedy Petey, we have a special guest, my friends. A very, very special guest. We've been talking on Twitter for the last couple of weeks. This guy is not only respected in the baseball world, but I've read a little bit about him, and I just absolutely enjoyed reading a quick summary about what this guy is doing in Charlotte. We are speaking to Rick Curdy, founder and CEO of the Charlotte Bats, and let's bring MLB to Charlotte. What's going on, Rick? How are you? How are you, my friend? I'm going to put you up a little bit because we can't hear you. I don't know what. You're a little low over there. You hear us now?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm okay.
You're good. You're good. Put a little bit louder. A little bit louder.
Okay.
You on speakerphone?
Can you hear me okay?
I hear you a little bit. You're a little low. I'm going to try to get you up higher. Hold on.
Okay.
All right. We got you now. Hopefully we can get you so everybody can hear you. We're speaking to Rick Curdy, the founder and CEO of Charlotte Bats. What's going on, Rick?
Not much. How's everybody doing out there?
We are good, my friend. And I loved when you reached out to me on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, and you expressed what you wanted to do, and you want to go out there and speak to the public and tell a little bit about why Charlotte needs a professional baseball team. But my question first to you is, how did this come along? I know I read 4 years ago you wanted to bring baseball, Major League Baseball team to Charlotte, to the big city of Charlotte. Was it friends? Were you sitting in a bar hanging out with friends and said, maybe we bring a baseball team to Charlotte? How was this? How did this come about talking about this?
Pretty much it was just out of curiosity. I moved out here about 14 years ago. I'm from Los Angeles originally. And I always wondered, even before I moved here, why North Carolina's never had Major League Baseball. And so it just kind of bothered me. And I would just look and do information about it, about how the city's growth, the population, jobs, economy. We already have professional football and basketball. We got a professional hockey team in Raleigh. And I just was like, man, I mean, this city has a bigger population than like 14 cities that currently have Major League Baseball, and Milwaukee's the smallest. And I'm like, and we have another state next door, so we're like two states in one. And I was like, man, this is a perfect place for Major League Baseball, and I just can't figure out why. So, hey, you know what? Let's do it. Let's see if there's any interest out there. And we've been growing ever since.
You come from L.A., so you're a Dodger fan, right?
Yes, I am a Dodger fan.
So what did you think about this story that came out over the summer about the Astros cheating and the Dodger players like Bellinger coming out and taking shots at Altuve, that Aaron Judge got screwed out of an MVP? What were your thoughts about what happened in the offseason with the Dodgers and the Astros?
I hated it, and it's not because I'm a Dodger fan. I hated it for baseball. To me, it was like the 1919 White Sox. To me, it was just fraud what they committed. And it wasn't just stealing signs. People keep saying, well, they were stealing signs. No, this was more elaborate. This was like, banging on trash cans and using video cameras, using technology to cheat. And it's really sad and it's really disgusting that some of the Astros players want to downplay it and say, well, we would have won anyway. So it's bad for Major League Baseball, and I was really disappointed in the commissioner's response to it as well.
How about Charlotte? You talk about the minor league team over there. You brought the minor league team over there since '94. What are your thoughts? I understand where baseball is growing throughout the country. And me and Speedy were actually talking about, my producer over here, we're talking about what city could use a professional baseball team besides Charlotte. And I couldn't think of one. But Charlotte, I've been to Charlotte. It's a get down city right now. It's right there on the Carolina area where the towns are big. They're growing. I mean, the college is over there. What is the minor league team doing out there right now?
Well, we have a minor league baseball team called Charlotte Knights. They used to play in South Carolina. Their attendance was like 3,000. When I first moved here, the attendance was bad. And so eventually they eventually are now in Charlotte. They're in our downtown area. We call it Uptown Charlotte, where they play at. And their attendance jumped from 3,000 to 9,000 in one season. And they're one of the most popular. The stadium is beautiful. It's one of the most visited ballparks in all of minor league baseball. So the attendance is great for minor league baseball. And I'm like, man, they have good attendance, and they can support minor league baseball. Why can't we support Major League Baseball? We have so many transplants out here from all over, like Ohio, Los Angeles, Virginia, all over, and a lot of New York people here. And I told them they would like to see the Yankees come out to Charlotte and play Major League Baseball games. So there's a lot of enthusiasm about it, and we're really excited that the commissioner put this on this list in 2015 for expansion.
Rick, it actually just led to my next question. How do you think the minor league baseball teams in a pretty big state as it is, but also very good support, how do you think that could help bring in the fan bases from all parts of the state and also maybe South Carolina that's neighboring? Because I know football with the Panthers, they get a lot of fans down there in South Carolina and with the Hurricanes as well. How do you think that could help in terms of getting fan bases to commit to that area? Because there's not much other baseball in even some of the neighboring states, really, besides the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, I mean, we're like 4.5 hours from Atlanta, and we're like 9 hours from Washington, D.C. So to me, this is a perfect market, and I think they would be very enthusiastic. And I know our city would be. I mean, you can't turn down millions and millions of dollars to see a team here and the jobs it would provide. So we would get a lot of response from our pro teams, from our city council, from our legislation, and I've talked to people in legislation, and no matter what party they were affiliated, they all want to see Major League Baseball, and it would be very excited. So it would be a lot of enthusiasm, and it would be like a whole project for not just me doing it, but our whole state would be involved as well.
We are speaking to Rick Curti, founder and CEO of the Charlotte Bats, and let's bring MLB to Charlotte. Rick, my question to you is, you're looking at baseball right now, season's around the corner. This is the earliest the baseball season's going to start in almost 25 years, which is, we remember that baseball usually starts the second week of April, or really the end of the first week. Now, all of a sudden, we're starting at the end of March, which is, what baseball's trying to do. And baseball now is trying to cut games possibly in the future and make more playoffs, and make more teams make the playoffs. It's crazy because I think the rules and the changes where the Major League is trying to transition the new age of baseball to the millennial guys, the millennial kids that are into baseball now, and trying to make the game faster. My question to you is the rules, the different changing of the rules, like the umpires, maybe having a robot call the strikes behind the plate. Do you think this transition and this change of rules is going to help baseball or make it worse?
That's a really good question. I'm old school. I hate to see technology take over sports. I know human beings make mistakes, but I'm just not really. Like I said, I'm old school, but anything to improve the game, and I know why they're doing it, because like you said, the young people are just not going to the games. The attendance in Major League Baseball has fallen off in the last 5 or 6 years, and people are just not going to games. So a lot of it has to do with the games not being fast enough or anything like that. So, for me, it's so weird and so different to see all this technology, but at the same time, I get it. I understand why they're doing it. And they want to attract not only the young people, but unfortunately, the young African American population don't want to play baseball. They all want to play football. They want to be the next LeBron James, and so that's another demographic that they've not done well at all. So I understand it and I get it. It's going to take me a while to get used to it, but I understand why they're doing it. So anything to improve the game and to bring more people, I'm all in favor for.
Rick, if you had a solution to solving this issue that baseball claims they have, even though it's, again, only certain fans, how would you fix it?
Well, what I would do is I would just reach out more to the community. That would be more for younger people, maybe do more kind of like events that will attract the younger people. I've heard that they want to I heard things like they might want to make it to like 7 innings, instead of 9 innings. Maybe they can do an XFL version of baseball, kind of make it.
Please don't.
Make it more quicker. I know the batters getting out of the batter's box, so I think what I would just do, I just would, kind of make it not as long. I'm not a fan of DH, and I think that's one of the reasons games take long because of the DH. I'm on favorite pitchers batting. I think the DH just takes too long. I would just reach out more to the community, reach out to people, and just, get them more involved. And probably I would just have a discussion group and say, what would you like to see in baseball? Why do you not watch it? Just ask the fans, what do you want from it? What benefits from it? And I don't think Major League Baseball has done that. I think that they made so much money, from the TV deals and the licensing deals, and the attendance has dropped, and you hear all these weird rules like robot umpires and all this stuff. But I would just ask the fans, what do you guys want to see? What do you guys want? What is football doing? What is basketball doing that Major League Baseball is missing? And I think if we can get that together and work with maybe the NBA, work with the NFL, and to just see what they're doing, I think that could solve a lot of problems.
We are speaking to Rick Curti, founder and CEO of the Charlotte Bats, and let's bring MLB to Charlotte. Rick, my question for you with baseball as a whole, when you look at Rob Manfred, and we were just talking about the Astros, and we talk about Pete Rose, and this has been bothering me since the whole Astros thing came out over the summer, really throughout the offseason, throughout the winter, and then you're hearing about the Red Sox possibly cheating as well and doing what they did with what the Astros did. My thoughts to this: has Rob Manfred done the right thing on trying to punish not only the GM and the coach, but really punish the team and the organization and the owner enough for this never to happen again? And that, to me, has been a big story right now. And now fans are coming out and taking shots at the Astros organization, and they want the Astros to give them back some of their money or let them, all the season ticket holders, to get a huge 50, 60% discount off this year's season.
Well, I respect the commissioner, but I think the way he handled it has been absolutely abysmal. I think to say that the big punishment is shame is really disgraceful, because they still get the kids' money. They're still making millions of dollars. They're still playing. They didn't even get suspended. It was crazy. They should have been suspended for at least a year. And to me, what they have done is just as bad as what Pete Rose has done. I mean, they actually stained the game with what they're doing, and they won a world championship with it. And it just reminds me of the 1919 Black Sox, the whole 8-man out where they, gambled, throw away games, so that, in the World Series, it almost ruined baseball, and hopefully this won't ruin baseball at all. They're trying so hard to appease the people, and yet you see something like this going on. It's just really disgraceful, in my opinion. And to me, the Astros, what they have done is no better than what Pete Rose or Shoeless Joe Jackson has done. So the way he handled it has been bad. Comparing the World Series trophy as a piece of metal, which he later apologized for, was bad. And it just seemed very tone deaf as his explanation. I mean, they should have been suspended for a year. They should have been stripped of the title. They should have just left it vacant. And, a lot of people have been saying, well, you're a Dodger fan. What's your feeling? I feel like that with anybody, even if it was like the Tampa Bay Rays or somebody. This is bad for Major League Baseball. And the commissioner, the way he's handled it has been bad. And now all these players are getting hit with the Astros. They're all being already targeted for, which I don't agree with. Shouldn't go targeting after them, and you can severely hurt somebody. So it's just bad right now for baseball. And if the commissioner did something like just suspend it for a season, or just giving away their title, I think people would be like, okay, at least he did something about it. But and just their answer, the Astros they were taking so much ownership to it, and then little by little they started saying, well, it wasn't as bad as you say it is, and even if we did do all that, where everyone else is doing it, and and it's just really sad that that's the way they're going, saying they would have won it anyway, and it's just not right at all.
Rick, I've always said that the Astros players and other executives haven't been suspended yet because Major League Baseball is waiting to see what's going on with the whole Red Sox investigation. They're using a replay room, them getting sign-stealing methods from Alex Cora when he came over and were their manager for the last 2 years. Do you think maybe they aren't going to do it at some point, and then they'll suspend the players maybe later in the season once they find out what happens with the Red Sox? How connected do you think those two cases are into why that Major League Baseball hasn't done anything impulsively besides Hinch and Luhnow so far?
I have no idea if they were. I mean, a lot of the players of the Astros got immunity for it just to tell what's been going on. So for that was wrong. So honestly, I don't think they're going to get suspended at all. Like the commissioner said, that their punishment is going to be shame. And their punishment is going to be that they should have an asterisk, and people are never going to give them the proper respect like other championships have won it. And to me, that's just not good enough. I mean, shame it's ridiculous. They don't have shame. The only reason they're sorry is because they got caught. And honestly, whatever happens with the with the Red Sox, I don't think anything will happen to the Astros. I think the commissioner kind of just wants this to go away. I think he's just going to, I don't know, to sweep it under the rug. He just wants nothing to do with this. And it's just not good at all. It's just that there needs to be more transparency in baseball. So in my opinion, I don't think Altuve or the rest of them are going, no, I don't think anything's going to happen. So I'll be surprised, and I'll hope I'm wrong. I hope that a lot of them do get suspended for at least a season. But some of them, I mean, they shouldn't even be playing baseball right now. I mean, it's really sad. And then Pete Rose came out and said what they have done is worse than what he did.
Absolutely.
I agree with him.
Absolutely.
He's the last person I really want to hear, cry me a river, Pete Rose. He's been doing this for the past 20 years. So, he's like the last person to be like saying what's right and what's wrong. So, but to me, what they have done is like what Pete Rose has done. It's like what the steroids, what they have done, because to me that was cheating. And to me, I just compare the Astros to the 1919 Black Sox of Shoeless Joe Jackson.
I'm sorry, Rick, and I agree with a lot of things that you said so far in this interview, but I absolutely disagree with the Pete Rose thing. Pete Rose, what he did was not anywhere close to what the Astros did. I'm sorry. He bet on his own team. He bet on his own team. And the fact that the Major League Baseball has sat down with this guy year in and year out, and I used to think that Rob Manfred was the best the best commissioner in professional sports. He's not been. I'm sorry he's not been, because this is a guy in Pete Rose that has every single piece of his baseballs, his bats, his jerseys are all hanging up in the Hall of Fame. And this guy, who's one of the greatest, if not the greatest hitter of all time, is still not inducted into the Hall of Fame. To me, that's a catastrophe. And what the Major League is doing to him, especially this whole Astros thing and this whole take that the manager and the GM are only suspended for 1 year and they can come back to baseball, to me, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And the Major Leagues and Rob Manfred, I'm telling you right now, Rob Manfred, when he becomes available, when CBA is up or his contract is up with the owners, I believe he will be fired because of this whole Astros thing. The way he handled this Astros story was not good enough for any of the fans. It's not good enough for the owners, the players. Everybody is upset about it, and his answers to it are not good enough. I'm sorry, it's not good enough. And to be honest with you, sweeping things under the rug like Roger Goodell, look where Roger Goodell is. He's making a lot of money, no question. But how many people hate the guy? How many fans hate the guy that every time you hear his name, they're booing him? So, to me, yeah, he's making the money. Yes, he's bringing baseball in more money. He's trying to figure out ways for baseball to grow. But he's not helping baseball for letting the Astros get away with this particular story, which, to me, is even worse than steroids. It's absolutely worse than steroids. You cheated 3 years and cheated how many teams out of a World Series championship, and you only won one.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Astros never won anything. They didn't even go to the World Series till in the 90s where they got swept. And you're going to tell me that their cheating didn't profit from them? They went to 2 World Series in the last 5 years and finally won one. And, I totally agree. They should just be banished. They should be just gone away, forget about. And he's handled it wrong. And I think that eventually they will get rid of Commissioner Manfred. And, they're going to have to totally clean their image. I think who would make a terrific commissioner would be Cal Ripken Jr., a man of integrity, a man that people respect, the Iron Horse who never missed a game in 18 years, a record that nobody thought would be broken. If there isn't a player that doesn't have the respect in Major League Baseball, it's Cal Ripken. And if I was in charge of Major League Baseball, I would just get rid of Manfred and put Cal Ripken if he's interested, and just bring back the integrity of the game, because the integrity of the game is lost. And I've lost so much respect for Manfred for what he's done. I thought he was one of the best commissioners, brightest minds ever, and for the way he's handled this whole thing, it's been it's a catastrophe. It's just really
a joke. It's absolute
it's a joke.
Yep.
And there's no accountability for the Astros. They keep everything.
Mm-hmm. It's disgusting.
Yeah,
it is absolutely disgusting. And how baseball is handling this, I disagree completely. And this is why this is still a story. And the season's 2 weeks away. And I don't think it's going to be hidden. The Astros are going to be thrown at. And I do believe that I don't care what the Astros do this year. Some people think they're going to be a playoff contender. Some people think they're still a championship competitive team. But you're hearing Justin Verlander's not even starting the season. He's going to be out for at least 2 or 3 weeks because of this lat pull. So already you're starting to think that this is going to be a bad year for the Astros. And if it is a bad year, people are going to be pointing the fingers how many bad years they could have had if they didn't cheat. So that, to me, is the story. Again, we're talking to Rick Curdy, founder and CEO of the Charlotte Bats. And let's bring MLB to Charlotte. Last question for me, Rick, before we let you go. And my question is, if I was Manfred right now, and I was sitting with you right now, and I asked you, why should I pick your city than every other city that I've been talking about for expansion teams, bringing expansion baseball to that city? Why should I pick Charlotte?
Well, you would pick Charlotte because we would be a team in the South. To me, one of the true teams in the South is Atlanta. You only have a team in Georgia. I mean, you got Florida and Texas, but, I think having another team in the South would be great. It'd be a great rivalry with Atlanta. You don't have Major League Baseball in Virginia. You don't have Major League Baseball in South Carolina. And so we can have that market right there. We'd be 2 states in one. Our minor league baseball team is one of the largest attended in all of minor league baseball. We have already shown that we can support professional sports by having the Carolina Panthers and the Charlotte Hornets, and we have the Carolina Hurricanes at Raleigh. We have so many transplants out here, people from New York. We're big Yankee fans. We have Oriole fans here. We have National fans here. We got fans all over. We have Dodger fans like myself here. Our economy is strong, we're known for the banking community, so we have sponsors are here, like Bank of America's headquartered here. We have Duke Energy's that's headquartered here, so you have no problems with sponsors. This is one of the fastest growing cities in the last 30 years, and I think what makes us different is that having another state next door to us that doesn't have any professional sports at all. They just have Clemson, and they have the Gamecocks, and they have a minor league baseball team, and that's it. So you can draw from those people there. So I think that's what makes our state very special and very unique.
As you guys know, we're talking to Rick Curdy. He is the founder and CEO of the Charlotte Bats. And let's bring MLB to Charlotte. I'll tell you this, Rick. If you do get a major league team, just remember us, because we would love to be your play-by-play guys. I'll tell you that right now. We have a guy right here sitting right next to me who's one of the best play-by-play guys when it comes to sports as a whole. He's a great play-by-play guy, and I'm the color guy. I'm the funny guy. I'm the crazy guy, and I like to cause the trouble. I like to cause the trouble. So, Rick, why don't you tell everybody how they can find you, and we're going to stay in touch, my friend.
Our website is www.charlottebats.com. We actually have a petition on there. It tells about the history of North Carolina and Charlotte and about our organization and a little bit about me. I'm also on Twitter at Charlotte Bats Baseball. We're on Instagram at Charlotte Bats. We are on Facebook at Charlotte Bats, and we just started a new group page called Let's Bring Major League Baseball to Charlotte. And I have all my pictures of all my interviews I've done, and actually pictures of famous people like Cal Ripken Jr., who we were talking to, and Eddie Murray, and honestly, Archibald Moonlight Graham for the movie Field of Dreams.
Love that movie.
Guy from North Carolina. Mm-hmm. He played for the Charlotte Hornets baseball team, and so it talks about the history of Charlotte and all these stars that played here. So you can reach me there, and if you have any questions, we're at charlottebatsbaseball@gmail.com, and just ask me a question or how you'd like to get involved.
As you guys know, we are speaking, and we just spoke to Rick Curdy, founder and CEO of the Charlotte Bats, and let's bring MLB to Charlotte. Rick, thank you for giving us the time, my friend.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for giving me this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. We'll talk more, my friend.
Thank you.
Rick Curdy, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, before we get into debate hour, we're going to get into this whole Hawks and what the CEO has come out and said about what the NBA should do with the regular season and how it could bring in more revenue. And we're going to talk about Doug Glanville, who he played for the major leagues. He also played for the Cubs and the Phillies. He said something very, very interesting about the Astros and the cheating scandal. When we come back, we'll get into that before debate hour. 631-965-4990. This is Down to the Wire, and we'll be back after this.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no two investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stock, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC, annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network, LLC.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/L. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Six 631-965-4990 is the number. As you guys know, this is Down to the Wire, and we are live every single Monday and Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at night Eastern Time. I'm here with Speedy Petey, the pain in the butt Speedy Petey, as he is playing King Wishful Thinking, as you guys know, the 80s song. I actually showed Speedy this song, and he now
I never heard of it before until you showed it to me last month or whatever.
Now he's a big fan of the song.
I am.
So there you go. So he sings it to bed, everybody. He sings it in his jammies, as you guys know. As you know, you can follow us by going to our website at worldwidesportsradio.com, and you can follow us on all the platforms. And guys, if you're not on radio.com and subscribe to us, we'd really appreciate it. And our app should be out eventually. I don't know. I've been saying this for a couple of months, so whenever it comes out, I'll let you guys know. So I'm not going to blow it up
Classic
until
Apple.
it happens. Yeah, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. These different, rules and regulations that Apple has just throws me off on really what this organization is all about. And I like Apple products. I really do. I'm not a big fan of their phones, but I like their computers. I like their iMacs and their MacBooks. I'm just not a big fan of their phones. And obviously their phones, the iOS system, is the worst system known to man. Because for some reason, they're not approving the different coding and different codes that we're trying to possess on our app. So hopefully very, very soon in the near future, our app will be up so you guys can download it and follow us and watch us and read our stories. We're very excited when it does come out to promote it and push it for the near future. But I do want to get into these two stories before our debate hour. We're going to go to a quick break after these two stories, and we're going to get the debate questions up. There's only going to be 3 debate questions today. Tomorrow there'll be more. The story about Doug Glanville, and Speedy actually gave me the story before the show started, and Doug Glanville actually played for the Phillies and the Cubs over, I think he was an infielder, right?
Outfielder.
How many years did he play in the major leagues?
I'm not sure, but he played during the steroid era.
All right, so there you go, and maybe he did steroids. I don't know, and he hasn't come out. There was no stories coming out that he did do steroids, but he said something interesting in this article that came out today. And
1996 to 2004.
Okay. So, and he had 3,964 at-bats. He had 1,100 hits, so he had a decent major league career, and he batted .277 in his whole career. So that's not bad numbers. But Doug Glanville actually came out today stating that the steroid era is worse than Spygate, or whatever you want to call it, Cameragate, with the Houston Astros. And I'm going to tell you this, Doug, and I don't know you personally, and I'm looking at your numbers as a major league player. Those aren't really that bad numbers, but I don't care how many years you played in the major leagues. And I don't care what you have to say about the steroid era. The steroid era saved baseball. It saved baseball when the strike came around in 94, 95. And then when baseball came back with Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, you didn't see Bud Selig complain about the steroid era, did you? You didn't. Because Bud Selig knew that baseball was falling apart and they needed something to drive it forward. And Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire were just the type of guys to do it. Now, I understand Rafael Palmeiro lied to Congress, and we've heard stories behind stories about who was taking steroids and who wasn't taking steroids. Alex Rodriguez threatening people's lives because he was taking steroids and he wanted to keep it a secret. To me, and you can say whatever you want, steroids is nowhere close to what the Houston Astros did in the last 3 seasons. Not even close. And the fact that you talk about the way Congress got involved with the steroid issue. Why isn't Congress getting involved with the Astros cheating?
Maybe because it's not a league-wide thing. Maybe it's just because it's a one-team thing.
A one-team thing. It affected revenue for organizations like the Yankees, like the Dodgers. That could. I understand. Everybody says like they need the money. But
yeah, I was just going to say that.
Nevertheless, that took away millions and millions of dollars through revenue from the Yankees, and maybe champions from the Dodgers, the Yankees, maybe the Phillies, whoever was in the playoffs in the last couple of years that had a chance. And obviously not the Phillies because they're from the National League, but the American League teams that played the Astros over the years. The Red Sox being one of them a couple of years ago, getting swept out of the playoffs, and they were the number 1 seed in the American League. And Altuve hitting 3 home runs against Chris Sale in the first game of the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I wonder how he did that. But to me, baseball, since this story came out, has been an absolute mockery. And Rob Manfred is the trophy man. He's the counterman in the face of this catastrophe. And it is a catastrophe, and you could say whatever you want, and owners could say, well, it's not going to affect the season. It already has.
Oh, and it will all season.
It already has. You have players, big-time superstars like Bellinger, who won the MVP last year, and Aaron Judge, who should have won the MVP 3 years ago, from him. It was him and Altuve, and Altuve
Right.
won. I mean, you've had players, Giancarlo Stanton coming out and saying that if he knew what pitch was coming at him, he'd hit 80 home runs in a season.
If he stays healthy.
When you have players coming out over and over and over again, even players that have retired have come out and taken shots at the Houston Astros and that organization. And the fact that the owner has not been disciplined, to me, is an absolute mockery. And the fact that Doug Glanville, who I've never even heard of, that's why I asked you who he is and who he played for and what position he played, because I never even heard of the guy. He comes out and says the steroid era is worse than this era. That is a ridiculous statement, and to me, he should take it back.
Well, again, the difference with the steroids and the sign stealing is the sign stealing is a team-based thing. It clearly benefited one team. The steroid era benefited those certain players, but it wasn't like a whole team had 7 guys, a whole lineup using steroids, and that's why they won. Barry Bonds still only went to 1 World Series, whether you use steroids or not. Roger Clemens, I think he won, 2 World Series, but again, he wasn't in the playoffs all the time with the certain teams he was on.
It'd be different if Barry Bonds came out and said something about this particular situation, because Barry Bonds is one of the greatest baseball players to ever live, or a Willie Mays, or somebody like that, or even a Derek Jeter come out and say that this is complete mockery. But for somebody like Doug Glanville, who nobody's even heard of, nobody even knows who he is, and if you weren't a Philadelphia Phillies fan or Chicago Cubs fan, you wouldn't even know that he's played in the major leagues. And he's coming out and saying, this is a guy that has not hit more than 100 home runs in his career in baseball, and he was in the major leagues for 9 years. And I'm not saying he was a bad baseball player, because if you make the major leagues, you're one of the best baseball players in the world. But the fact is that he's coming out and saying that. Who the hell is Doug Glanville? I mean, that's the way I look at it. I could care less what Doug Glanville says. If Pete Rose came out and said something, that's Pete Rose.
But again, it also speaks to the credibility, though, too, because you're seeing steroid-era players be more credible on their era, whereas you're seeing with the Astros, they're not being credible with themselves at all. Doug Glanville probably played at some point with Sammy Sosa, who was one of the big steroid guys, and he's taking shots at him, and okay, rightfully so. Now you're seeing only guys that have left the Astros, guys like Ken Giles, who got traded to the Blue Jays, Colin McHugh, who was on that 2017 team, and then hasn't made the rotation since. Only those guys are speaking, and obviously Mike Fiers is the guy who started it. It's not guys that are currently on the roster, so at least he has the guts to take that shot at his own era, because again, steroids is wrong. I know you don't think it matters, but it is wrong in a sense. But you're right, where this kind of thing, if you know what pitch is coming, it's clearly much more an advantage, because baseball's not just about hitting home runs, too. If you know what kind of pitch is coming, you could line it for a single. You could rip it in a center field for a double and drive in the winning run in key situations. That's why it matters for the postseason.
You don't even have to know where the ball is going, because you
Right.
can practically guess.
Right.
Because you know, if let's say Garrett Cole is pitching a curveball, you know where his curveballs usually fall. Mm-hmm. So you can guess where the pitch, where the ball is going to land, where it gives you a better chance of getting connected.
Right, and with the cameras, you can look at the windups, you can look at the spin rate, you can look at different things, the way it moves, where you wouldn't be able to do that naturally in a game, just either standing in the batter's box or standing in the dugout angle. It's not easy to see it all the way. Now, again, I have no problem with natural sign stealing, but again, that's not going to happen on every angle. If you steal signs naturally, that's fine. That's a challenge. That's part of the game. Doing it electronically, where you could focus the camera like that, is a whole different thing of
cheating.
wrong. Right.
It's cheating. So I disagree with Doug Glanville, and I think he's absolutely wrong. And I think this guy needs to. I don't care how long he played in the major leagues, and I don't care. Maybe he knows somebody on the Astros, or he knows AJ Hinge, or he knows the GM of the Astros organization. Or maybe he's best friends with the owner of the Astros. I don't give a crap. The fact is they were cheating, and if you're cheating, you should be suspended, or something should be mandatorily taken away from that organization, and it hasn't been done enough by Rob Manfred. And Manfred should be fired. The ownership should fire him. Now, I don't know. I think his contract's up. I think they signed 5 or 6 year deals, and I think he signed it 2 or 3 years ago. So Rob Manfred maybe has 2 or 3 years left on his contract as the baseball commissioner. With this particular situation, and he's not Bud Selig, I don't know how many years we're going to have left that Rob Manfred is going to be the commissioner of this organization.
So it ends in 2024 because it was given to him.
4 years.
Yeah, so the year that just completed was the first year of the 5-year deal. So up until 2024 is when.
So that's
signed.
not a good sign. If that was your first year from contract and this happens your first year, that's not a good sign for Rob Manfred. And now you're hearing stories that he wants. What does he want? Robotic umpires in the back of home plate. I mean, that could ruin baseball automatically. I mean, so and it wasn't.
People could probably find a way to steal signs with the robots, for all we know.
I don't know, but I think that this is going to be a rocky 4 years for Rob Manfred, especially his first year coming off a year where there was cheating with the Houston Astros, and they've been doing it for years under Bud Selig.
And maybe with the Red Sox, too.
Reign. So, even the Bo Sox. If the Bo Sox get caught cheating as well, that's just another asterisk on his name for the next couple of years. And I'm telling you right now, the ownership, players are not happy that he did nothing to the Houston Astros. He did absolutely nothing. That their own fans are trying to get money back because of what the Astros have done. They're suing. There's a fan suing the Astros for $1 million. So he's not going to be the only one. He's not going to be the last one. And I think the Major League Baseball has to look at just what the fans are saying in Houston. Not only the players, but the fans of the Houston Astros are saying about the team and the organization and how it was run. So it's not a good sign for the Houston Astros. And Doug Glanville, he doesn't really put himself on the top of the list of people you want to interview. We should reach out to Doug Glanville and get him on the show. We really should.
You would challenge him.
Yeah, I would challenge him.
That'd be quite an interesting interview.
Because I think he's an idiot, if you ask me. And last story before we go to break in debate hour. There's a story coming out that the Hawks CEO, Steve Cunningham, starts the season. He's really starting the season on trying to figure out when the new CBA laws come out in the next year, where the NBA should go with their seasons. Now, he has come out and said in this article that he believes the NBA should start in December and end the playoff final should be in the middle of August. And if that's the case, and as everybody knows, the NBA draft is in July.
June.
Well, it's the end of June, July.
July, I think, is when free agency starts.
When you think about it that way, when do they expect to have the offseason? What is it, 2 months? That's all you're saying that August should be the end of the season. September, October, November, December. So
I don't think the length would be any different because you're shifting the start of the season 2 months and you're ending the season 2 months later from what it already is.
But it's weird. It's weird because the NBA really builds and promotes their product in the month of November going into Christmas. Now all of a sudden they're going to be promoting it through Christmas, through the New Year. I just, to me, it doesn't make any sense. And the way they're supposed to build a product. And here's the thing: the NBA is now. They're elevating their TV deals, and now the players are going to make more money, and the CBA is going to make more money, and the players' union is going to make more money. Why would the players agree to this? When the players realize that their off-season in the summertime is better, going to distinct areas like Hawaii or training in New York or training in LA, than going and starting the season or ending the season in August, where you're going to start training and getting ready for the next season in September, October, which to me is not good for the players, especially the cold and really the massive training that they do in the offseason. So I don't think this benefits the players. It might benefit the owners and might benefit maybe the playoffs.
Well, if there's more TV deals that come with this, because that was, I think, the main incentive for why Coonan decided to do this.
I don't know if that's going to...
The players could end up getting more,
I don't think it's going to drive more TV deals because they have the biggest TV deal out of all the sports right now. They have the biggest TV deal
right, but
out
also,
of all the sports.
I think what it said in the article that I was reading, the timing of it is also going to help considering August. It's
never going to happen.
It's only preseason football, which nobody cares about really. It's baseball that's still in the regular season, which is, again, later in the season, so it means more, but is still not going to be watched as much. So I think that, in essence, could help boost the ratings.
It's not going to boost anything because it's never going to happen. There's no way the players' union, especially the NBA's players' union, are going to accept this. because it doesn't make sense.
You don't think they would do that to
No.
boost potential
No.
raises of the max contracts, which are
Max
currently $40
contracts,
million?
They're making tons and tons of money. They don't
Right,
need
but they
to make
could
any
make
more
more is what I'm saying. You don't
They're-
think they would want to do that?
No, because I think the players are going to realize that right now the way the season is built is better right now that they have their summers and their vacations with their families. Remember, their kids have school. They go back to school. The players only get to see their kids maybe 2 months in a year to see their kids at a significant amount of times because they're traveling and they're traveling 40 games, 42 games in a season, 41 games in a season. They don't really get the chance to see their kids and their family. And the fact that you're going to take that away from the players because they want to start the season later, I don't think it makes sense. It really doesn't.
But again, not every player is going to be playing in the NBA Finals.
Doesn't matter.
Or later in the playoffs.
It's not
at that
fair
time
to the
either.
players that are. You understand? It has nothing to do with it. It's not fair. So you're telling me LeBron James, he plays in the playoffs every single year,
Right.
and he expects the time with his children, his sons that are going through high school, and he wants to go and watch him play basketball. He's not going to get a chance to do that because, oh my God, he's playing in the finals every single year. That's not fair to LeBron James. It's not fair to the players that are in the playoffs. So to me, it doesn't matter. And the players are not going to handle that right, and they're not going to accept that because they want a chance to see their kids grow, a.k.a. Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, for how many years? 20 years of playing basketball, barely saw his family. And now, after he retired 2 years ago, he's gone. He's dead. He really never got a chance to see his kids, his daughters grow. Because he dedicated his life to 20 years of professional basketball. So to me, there's no way the players' union are going to accept this, especially when they have the time and the opportunity to spend with their children and their families. So wrong, Speedy. It's not going to happen. The players' union is not going to accept this. I don't care what the NBA owners are going to do because it's all about the players' union, and they're the ones that play the
right,
game.
it definitely benefits the owners more. I'm not denying that. I'm saying
It doesn't benefit the players
I think
at
the
all.
shift is not really as drastic when it comes to if the players will benefit financially if the TV deals continue to go up millions of dollars where the max contracts.
How much money do you think they're going to benefit? $2 million a year? $3 million a
Right,
year?
which in essence gets the max contracts to 42, then to 45, then whatever. The players, especially obviously the superstars who are going to get those max contracts, could benefit off of that if it means just shifting the season. I think it could help, again, some instances. You're right, there's definitely going to be some that aren't going to like it because they're not going to be able to vacation.
It's
like
never
they
going to
would.
be approved.
But again, I think they already have that issue anyway, just with the way the season is structured. They play every other day. They travel a lot. That's not really going to be solved anyway.
It's never going to be approved. I'm telling you right now, this is one rule that will never be approved by the NBA. I think the tournament is a smart idea, even though the commissioner has stepped away from this tournament of teams that don't make the playoffs that can absolutely win that extra number one draft pick, first round draft pick. I think that should be implicated into the league and new CBA rules. But this rule is completely... This could ruin a lot of things for the NBA players. It will help the fans out because the fans can have a little bit more time to wait until the NBA season so they can watch a little bit more hockey. And who's to say hockey wouldn't copy the NBA if the NBA does that? And I think it could ruin sports as a whole. So I can't see the NBA.
I don't think the NBA really cares about that, though. I think they're always going to gain ratings over hockey.
Not the
anyway.
NBA, it's the players. And it's all about the players' union. And the players' union is not going to accept the fact that these players like to spend time with their families. And I'm sorry, Speedy, I look at that. For a player, they're making $40 million. They don't need any more money. They don't need an extra $3 or $4 million. They're making more than enough players. The bench players, the 13th guy on the bench is making $3-4 million a year. I don't think they care about the extra $500,000-$400,000 that they're going to make.
I think it would be more than that, though.
For the 13th player on the bench? No, it isn't.
Not for them. But again, I don't think that's the players they're really targeting. It's obviously the superstars.
All right, the
it's a
superstars.
superstar-driven league.
What are they going to get? $2-3 million? That's going to be nothing for them. They make that in endorsements. There's no way the players are going to accept that. Anyways, when we come back, Debate Hour with me and Speedy Petey. As you guys know, we are live on Monday and Tuesday down to the wire from 6 to 8 p.m. at night. When we come back, Debate Hour here at the Worldwide Sports Radio.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Of course my kid's in the right car seat. Well, I think he is.
Yeah, my kid's in a booster seat. He was ready to move up. He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
rear-facing, forward-facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better, and kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
They'll challenge your authority. They'll try to break your will. They'll push you to the edge of your sanity. Because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, not theirs. Defend it. Who makes the payments? Who cleans it? Who drives it? You do. That's who. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch. Until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is like busy, you know? I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama, like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
631-965-4990. As you guys know, this is the Arithmetics, and this is Sweet Dreams. As everybody knows, it was a very popular late 80s, early 90s song. So if you don't know who sings this song, it's the Arithmetics. So there you go. As you know, you can follow us by going to our website at worldwidesportsradio.com. And as you know, we have this particular moment throughout our show, Down to the Wire, Monday and Tuesday. And as you guys know, this is Debate Hour.
This is the Debate Hour. And now in this corner, your host, Errol Mars. And in this corner, who gives a shit? Round one.
All right, Speedy, give me.
All right, round one. We're going to start with hockey today. Which current division leader in their respective conferences, it's either the Bruins, Capitals, Blues, or Golden Knights.
Golden Knights, yes.
Which of those division leaders has the best chance of getting knocked out in the first round of the playoffs, and why?
All right, Speedy.
All righty. So I'm going to take Vegas in this one. I'm going to take Vegas for this reason. The Western Conference wildcard teams, a lot of them have been very good this year. The Wild are playing red hot. Nashville's a very good team that now has something to play for now with what happened to the tragedy in their city. They're going to be motivated. You got a young Vancouver team, which has been very good this year. And Vegas has been kind of top-heavy this year, and usually top-heavy teams don't do well in the postseason. Marc-Andre Fleury's been a very more below-average playoff goalie than he has been good. He was great in his first stretch with Vegas, but after that, he really hasn't been that good. And again, their defense has been okay, but again, it's really a top-heavy team. Mark Stone's been great. Marchessault has been great, but everyone else has really had a down year for the most part. Even William Karlsson, who was great for them in that first season, he's been kind of down from where he was. And again, their playoffs, they're still kind of inexperienced. They made the Stanley Cup, but again, they also collapsed down 3-1 last year against the Sharks. So what are they? They're kind of an in-between team. And I just, with the depth of the Western Conference this year, I like a lot of those wildcard teams, especially if it is Nashville, because they're going to have something to play for. I think the depth of the Western Conference, that'll make a difference, and I think any of those wildcard teams can knock out Vegas. The Blues have something to play for, too, with Bouwmeester, the cardiac arrest, what happened to him. I can't see them going out that early. In the East, really, they don't have great bottom teams as much that I could think can knock out the Bruins or the Capitals. So I'm going to take Vegas.
I'm taking the Bruins.
You are?
I'm going to take the Bruins, especially getting knocked out in the Stanley Cup Finals last year against the great young or veteran team of the Blues last year. I was there. I was on the ice. I watched the players. I watched the Boston Bruins. Their heads go down, but this is a young team, talented. They have good leadership. Zdeno Chara is still playing. They have Tuukka Rask, always plays well in the second half, going into the playoffs. He's a good playoff goaltender. He didn't play well good in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Right.
And Brad Marchand, who a lot of people don't like in the league, has played good hockey. This is a team that's 7-3 in their last 10 games. And to me, they're the most all-around talented team out of all the four teams. So